I didn't cry the day she left me. I didn't scream, didn't beg, didn't ask her why. I just stood there in the doorway of the apartment we'd painted together, walls the color of lavender because she said it felt like peace, and watched her walk away with him. The man she told me not to worry about. The man who wore expensive watches and spoke in polished sentences that made me feel small. She didn't even look back. That night, I sat on the floor of our empty bedroom, staring at the half-finished mural I'd been painting for her birthday. A garden. Full of peonies, her favorite. I'd spent weeks sketching it, imagining her face when she saw it. Now it just felt like evidence. Proof of how much I loved someone who had already chosen someone else. I didn't sleep. I packed my things in silence, left the keys on the counter, and disappeared. No forwarding address. No social media. No explanations. I became a ghost. And for 3 years, I built a life she would have called impossible. I poured everything, every ache, every memory, every piece of her I couldn't forget, into my art. My paintings started selling. Then galleries noticed. Then critics. Then collectors. I didn't do it for revenge. I did it to survive. But when she found me again, standing in front of my sold-out exhibition, wearing the life she said I'd never give her, she looked at me like I'd stolen it from her. I met her in a coffee shop that smelled like cinnamon and old books. It was one of those places where time moved differently, slower, gentler, like the world outside didn't matter. The kind of place where people came to disappear for a while. I was there because my studio apartment had no heat, and I couldn't afford to run the space heater all day. So I bought one coffee, nursed it for hours, and sketched in the corner booth where the light was best. That's when I saw her. She was sitting by the window, framed by the afternoon sun like she was part of a painting I hadn't finished yet. Her hair fell over her face in soft waves, dark and messy in that effortless way some people have. She was sketching something in a notebook, her brow furrowed in concentration, her bottom lip caught between her teeth. I didn't mean to stare. But artists notice beauty differently. We see it in angles, in light, in the way someone's hand moves across paper like they're trying to capture something they can't quite name. She looked up. Caught me watching. Most people would look away. Pretend they were staring at something else. But she didn't. She smiled. Not a polite smile. A real one. The kind that reaches the eyes and makes you feel like you've been seen. "Are you going to keep staring?" she said, her voice carrying across the quiet cafe, "or are you going to say something?" I laughed. Nervous. Ridiculous. My face went hot, and I felt like a teenager caught passing notes in class. Sorry. I was trying to figure out what you're drawing." She tilted her head, considering me. Then she turned the notebook toward me, lifting it just enough so I could see from across the room. It was a flower. A peony. The petals were crooked, the lines uneven, the stem unfinished. It was clumsy and honest and somehow beautiful because of it. "I'm not very good," she said, her voice softer now, almost apologetic. I stood up. I don't know why. Maybe because staying across the room felt wrong. Maybe because something in her voice pulled me closer. I walked over, my sketchbook tucked under my arm, my coffee cold in my hand. "You're honest," I said, looking down at the drawing. "That's better than good." She blinked. Surprised. "That's a nice way of saying it's terrible." "No," I said, shaking my head. "I mean it. Most people draw what they think they're supposed to see. You drew what you actually saw. That's rare." She studied me for a moment, her eyes scanning my face like she was trying to decide if I was serious or just being kind. Then she gestured to the chair across from her. "Sit. If you're going to critique my work, you might as well stay." I sat. Her name was Lily. She told me she worked at a law firm downtown, in one of those glass towers that made you feel small just looking at them. She hated it, she said. Hated the fluorescent lights, the endless paperwork, the partners who treated her like a machine instead of a person. But she needed the stability. Needed the paycheck. Needed to prove to her parents that the expensive law degree wasn't a waste. "I used to want to be an artist," she said quietly, tracing the edge of her notebook with one finger. "But I wasn't good enough. So I became practical instead." I told her I was a painter. That I lived in a studio apartment with no heat and too many half-finished canvases. That I ate ramen most nights and sold paintings on the street for $20 each just to make rent. That I had no plan, no safety net, no idea if I'd ever make it. She didn't flinch. Didn't pity me. Didn't give me that look people give when they think your dreams are cute but unrealistic. She just said, "That sounds brave." No one had ever called me brave before. We talked for 2 hours. Maybe longer. The cafe started to empty around us, the barista wiping down tables, the sun sinking lower outside the window. We talked about art and failure and the difference between living and surviving. She told me about the flower she was drawing, a peony, her favorite, because her grandmother used to grow them in her garden. I told her about the painting I was working on, a cityscape at night, all neon and shadow and loneliness. "I'd like to see it sometime," she said. "You would?" She smiled again. That same real smile. "Yeah. I would." When we finally left, the sky was bruised with purple and gold, the air cold enough to see our breath. We stood outside the cafe, hands in our pockets, neither of us quite ready to say goodbye. "Same time next week?" she asked. I nodded. "Same time." She walked away, her coat pulled tight around her, her hair catching the last of the light. I watched her until she turned the corner and disappeared. Then I walked back to my freezing apartment, my chest warm for the first time in months. I didn't know it then, but that was the moment everything changed. I fell in love with her that day. I just didn't know it yet. But I would. Soon enough, I would know it in every breath, every brushstroke, every quiet moment we shared. And when it all fell apart, I would remember this day, the cinnamon, the light, the way she smiled at me like I was worth something. And I would wonder if I could ever feel that way again. The truth is, love doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with warning signs or clear instructions. It just happens. One moment you're a stranger in a coffee shop, and the next, you're staring at someone who feels like home. I walked home that night with her smile burned into my memory, her words echoing in my head. That sounds brave. No one had ever seen my struggle as courage. They saw poverty. Instability. A fool chasing a dream that would never pay the bills. But she saw something else. And maybe that's why I fell. Because she made me believe, even for just a moment, that I was worth believing in. We became inseparable. It happened slowly at first, then all at once, the way falling usually does. After that day in the coffee shop, Lily started showing up at my studio after work. She'd knock twice, always twice, and I'd open the door to find her standing there in her pencil skirts and blazers, still carrying her leather briefcase, looking completely out of place among the paint-stained floors and half-finished canvases stacked against the walls. But she never seemed to mind. She'd kick off her heels at the door, peel off her blazer, and curl up on the couch I'd found on the street corner 3 months ago. It was ugly, faded floral print, one armrest lower than the other, but she loved it. Said it had character. She'd tuck her legs under her, pull a blanket over her lap, and just watch me work. "You don't have to stay," I'd say sometimes, glancing over my shoulder at her. "I know," she'd reply. "But I want to." And that was enough. She said I made her feel calm. That the world slowed down when she was with me. That after spending all day in a glass tower full of people who only cared about billable hours and quarterly reports, my studio felt like the only place she could breathe. I didn't tell her that she did the same for me. That having her there, quiet and steady, made the loneliness I'd carried for years feel lighter. That I'd started painting differently since I met her, softer, warmer, like the colors themselves had changed. I painted her. Over and over. Not her face, she was shy about that, always turning away when I tried, but the feeling of her. The light that seemed to follow her. The warmth she brought into cold spaces. I painted in golds and blush pinks, in soft lavenders and deep marigolds. The kind of colors that make you forget it's winter outside, that make you believe in spring even when the ground is frozen. Sometimes she'd fall asleep on that ugly couch, her hair spilling over the armrest, her breathing slow and even. I'd stop painting, wipe my hands on my jeans, and drape my jacket over her like a blanket. Then I'd keep working in silence, the only sound the scrape of my brush against canvas and the quiet rhythm of her breath. I'd never felt more at peace. On weekends, we explored the city like it was ours alone. We'd spend hours in thrift stores, digging through dusty shelves and forgotten corners, looking for frames and furniture and anything that caught our eye. Lily had a gift for finding beauty in broken things. A cracked mirror with an ornate frame. A wooden table with uneven legs. A lamp that flickered when you turned it on. "It just needs love," she'd say, running her fingers over the chipped paint, the splintered wood, like it was something sacred. Like it deserved a second chance. I started to believe her. Started to think that maybe broken things, broken people, could be beautiful too, if someone cared enough to see them that way. We bought the table. Carried it 6 blocks back to my studio because we couldn't afford a cab. She laughed the whole way, even when I almost dropped it twice. We set it up by the window, sanded it down together, painted it white. She chose the color. Said it looked like a fresh start. I didn't tell her I was starting to think of her as mine. We'd spend evenings reading to each other, her with legal briefs she hated, me with art books I'd checked out from the library. She'd rest her head on my shoulder, and I'd trace patterns on her arm, and for those few hours, nothing else existed. Not her demanding job. Not my uncertain future. Just us. One night, everything shifted. We'd gone to a diner after I sold a painting, my first real sale in months. $50. It wasn't much, but it felt like everything. We ordered too much food, split a piece of pie, talked about nothing and everything. When we left, it was raining. Not hard, just a steady drizzle that made the streetlights blur and the pavement shine like glass. We stood under the awning, watching the rain, neither of us in a hurry to leave. And then she turned to me. No warning. No hesitation. She grabbed the front of my shirt, pulled me close, and kissed me. Her lips were soft and cold from the rain, her hands warm against my chest. She kissed me like she'd been holding her breath for months and finally let go. Like she'd been waiting for this moment and couldn't wait anymore. When she pulled away, she was crying. "I didn't know I could feel like this," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I didn't know it was possible." I cupped her face in my hands, wiped the rain, or maybe tears, from her cheeks. Neither did I. We stood there in the rain, holding each other like the world might end if we let go. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid of what came next. I loved her. Completely. Desperately. In the way you love someone when you know they've changed you forever. And I thought, foolishly, naively, that she felt the same. I thought this was the beginning of something that would last. That the way she looked at me in that moment, with rain streaming down her face and her hands clutching my shirt like I was the only solid thing in a spinning world, meant we were building something unbreakable. I thought love was enough. I didn't know it was already the best it would ever be. It started small. So small I almost didn't notice. Or maybe I noticed and didn't want to believe it. Either way, the cracks began to show, hairline fractures in something I thought was solid. Lily stopped coming to the studio as often. At first, it was once a week. Then twice. Then whole weeks would pass, and I wouldn't see her at all. She'd text me, *sorry, work is crazy*, and I'd believe her. I wanted to. She worked at a law firm. Of course work was demanding. Of course her boss expected too much. Of course she was exhausted. But when she did visit, she was different. Distracted. Distant. Her phone buzzed constantly, lighting up on the table between us like a third person in the room. She'd glance at it, frown, then smile at me like nothing was wrong. But I saw it. The way her fingers twitched toward the screen. The way her attention split in half, one part with me, the other somewhere, someone else. "Who keeps texting you?" I asked one night, trying to sound casual, like I wasn't dying inside. She didn't look up. "Just a colleague. His name's Aaron. He's helping me with a case." Aaron. The name sat in my chest like a stone. Heavy. Cold. Sinking. "Oh," I said. "That's good." She kissed my forehead. Told me not to worry. Told me it was nothing. I didn't push. I didn't want to be that guy, the jealous boyfriend, the insecure artist who couldn't give her the life she deserved. So I swallowed the doubt, smiled, and told her I understood. But I started noticing things. The way she dressed differently on certain days. Not her usual work clothes, pencil skirts, simple blouses, but something more. A dress that hugged her waist. Lipstick she didn't usually wear. Perfume that smelled expensive, unfamiliar. She'd check her reflection in the window before leaving, adjusting her hair, smoothing her dress, like she was preparing for something. Or someone. The way she laughed at her phone. Light. Breathless. The way she used to laugh with me. The way she'd suddenly have dinner meetings or late briefs on nights we'd planned to spend together. I wanted to ask. Wanted to demand the truth. But fear kept me silent. Fear that if I pushed, she'd confirm what I already knew. That I was losing her. That I'd already lost her. I painted through it. That's what I always did when I didn't know how to feel. I painted dark, chaotic scenes, storms and shadows and drowning. My canvases turned violent. Reds and blacks and deep, bruised purples. I didn't plan it. It just came out that way, like my hands knew what my heart refused to admit. One Saturday night, I asked her to stay over. We hadn't been together, really together, in weeks. I missed her. Missed the way she felt in my arms, the way she'd fall asleep on my chest, the way mornings felt softer when she was there. She looked at me, hesitated, then shook her head. I can't. I have an early meeting tomorrow. On Sunday? I asked. She blinked. Sorry, I meant Saturday. Early Saturday meeting. It's already Saturday night. Silence. The lie hung between us like smoke. Thick. Suffocating. She grabbed her coat, moving quickly now, like she couldn't get out fast enough. I'm sorry. I'm just confused. It's been a long week. She kissed my cheek, quick and cold, and headed for the door. I'll call you tomorrow. She didn't. I stood at the window and watched her walk away, her silhouette disappearing into the night. Her perfume lingered in the air long after the door closed, sweet and foreign, like she'd already become someone I didn't know. That night, I couldn't paint. I just sat on the floor of my studio, staring at the unfinished mural on the wall. The one I'd been painting for her birthday. Peonies. Her favorite. I'd spent weeks on it, sketching and layering and perfecting every petal. I wanted it to be beautiful. Wanted her to walk in and feel loved. Now it just looked pathetic. I picked up a brush. Dipped it in black. And without thinking, I painted over the flowers. Rough, angry strokes. Covering the softness. Burying the light. When I was done, it looked like drowning. And for the first time, I let myself think the thought I'd been running from. I'm losing her. No. Worse. I've already lost her. The next morning, I tried to paint something else. Anything else. But my hands wouldn't cooperate. Every canvas turned dark. Every color felt wrong. I was painting the end of us before it had even officially happened, documenting my own heartbreak in real time. And she was out there, somewhere, with him. I found out at her office party. She invited me 2 weeks in advance. Said it was important. Said she wanted me to meet her colleagues, to be part of her world. I didn't want to go. I hated those kinds of events, all polished smiles and empty conversations, but she asked me with that look in her eyes, the one that used to make me feel like I mattered. So I said yes. I wore the only button-up shirt I owned, the navy one she'd bought me for Christmas. I ironed it twice, making sure the collar sat right, that I looked like someone who belonged. I stopped at a flower shop on the way and bought a bouquet of peonies, her favorite, pale pink and wrapped in brown paper. I wanted her to know I was trying. That I saw her. That I loved her, even when things felt broken. The party was in a sleek downtown building, all glass and marble and chandeliers that cost more than my rent. I felt out of place the second I walked in. The room was full of lawyers in tailored suits, holding wine glasses like props, laughing in that performative way people do when they're trying to impress each other. I clutched the peonies and searched for Lily. When I found her, she was standing near the bar, mid-conversation, her head tilted back in laughter. She looked beautiful. Radiant. Like she belonged here in a way I never would. Then she saw me. Her smile faltered. Just for a second. But I saw it. She walked over, took my hand, and led me through the crowd. Her grip was tight, almost nervous. I'm glad you came, she said, but her voice sounded distant, rehearsed. Me too. She stopped in front of a man I didn't recognize. Tall. Broad shoulders. Clean-cut in that effortless, expensive way. He was holding a glass of scotch, his posture relaxed, confident, like he owned the room. There's someone I want you to meet, Lily said. The man turned. Extended his hand. You must be the artist, he said, his smile sharp and knowing. I'm Aaron. Aaron. The name I'd been hearing for weeks. The name that sat in my chest like a stone. Now he had a face. A presence. A reality I couldn't ignore. I shook his hand. His grip was firm, almost aggressive, like he was testing me. Nice to meet you, I lied. Lily talks about you all the time, he continued, his eyes scanning me like he was appraising a painting he didn't plan to buy. There was something in his tone, casual, dismissive, that made me feel small. Like I was a hobby she'd outgrown. I wanted to believe that was a good thing. But the way he said it felt like mockery. I watched them. The way he looked at her. The way she looked at him. The way they stood just a little too close, their laughter tangling together like something private, something I wasn't part of. His hand found the small of her back. Casual. Familiar. Possessive. She didn't pull away. And then someone, drunk, careless, called out from across the room. "Wait, Lily, is this your boyfriend?" The room didn't stop. Conversations kept going. Music kept playing. But everything inside me froze. Lily hesitated. Just for a second. But a second was long enough to destroy me. "He's a friend," she said. Her voice was quiet. Almost apologetic. But it didn't matter. The words hit me like a fist to the chest. I felt the air leave my lungs, felt the ground tilt beneath my feet. A friend. I saw Aaron's hand tighten on her waist. Saw the knowing look in his eyes. Saw the way Lily wouldn't meet my gaze. The peonies in my hand suddenly felt ridiculous. Pathetic. A bouquet for a woman who'd already chosen someone else. I set them on the table. Carefully. Like if I moved too fast, I'd shatter. Then I walked toward the door. I heard her call my name. Once. Softly. I didn't stop. I pushed through the crowd, past the lawyers and the laughter and the life I was never going to be part of. I walked out into the cold night air, my chest tight, my hands shaking. And I kept walking. Block after block. Until I couldn't hear the party anymore. Until I couldn't hear anything but the sound of my own heartbreak echoing in the empty streets. She didn't follow. And that told me everything I needed to know. She came to the studio 3 days later. I'd been painting non-stop since the party. No sleep. No food. Just color and rage and heartbreak smeared across canvas after canvas. My hands were stained with paint, my eyes red and raw, my body running on fumes. The studio smelled like turpentine and desperation. I heard the knock. 2 taps. The same way she always knocked. I didn't move. She knocked again. Then the door opened. She walked in without waiting for permission, her eyes red, her voice shaking. "Why did you leave like that?" I didn't turn around. I kept painting. Dark, violent strokes. A storm that wouldn't end. "You called me a friend," I said, my voice flat. "I didn't mean it like that." "Then how did you mean it?" Silence. I put the brush down. Turned to face her. She looked smaller than I remembered. Fragile. Like she might break if I said the wrong thing. But I was the one who was broken. "Are you sleeping with him?" She flinched. "No. But you want to." Her voice cracked. "I don't know." I laughed. It came out bitter, hollow. "You don't know." "I'm confused," she said, tears streaming down her face now. "I didn't mean for this to happen. I didn't want to hurt you. But you did." She took a step closer. I stepped back. "Are you in love with him?" I asked. The question hung in the air like smoke. She didn't answer right away. And in that silence, I heard everything I needed to know. "I think I might be," she whispered. The brush fell from my hand. Clattered against the floor. She kept talking, words spilling out in a rush, like if she said them fast enough, they'd hurt less. "Aaron, he's stable. He has a plan. He can give me the life I've always wanted. A real life. Security. A future. And you." "And I what?" "You're always struggling," she said, her voice breaking. "Always uncertain. Always one bad month away from losing everything. I love your art. I love you. But I can't live like this forever. I need more." I stared at her. This woman I'd painted into every corner of my life. This woman I'd loved with everything I had. This woman who was telling me I wasn't enough. "So that's it," I said quietly. "I'm not enough." "That's not what I—" "Yes, it is." My voice was calm now. Eerily calm. "You want the life he can give you. The stability. The certainty. And I can't offer you that. So you're choosing him." She reached for me. I stepped back, my hands up like a barrier. "Don't," I said. "Please. Don't make this harder than it already is." Her face crumpled. "I never wanted to hurt you." "But you did," I said. "You chose him. You chose the life he could give you. And that's fine. But don't stand here and pretend you didn't know what you were doing. Don't pretend this wasn't a choice." She opened her mouth. Closed it. Tears streamed down her face, but I felt nothing. No sympathy. No anger. Just emptiness. Then go, I said. Go be with him. Have your perfect life. I don't want to lose you, she whispered. You already did. She stood there for a moment longer, like she was waiting for me to take it back. To beg her to stay. To fight for her. I didn't. She turned toward the door, her shoulders shaking with sobs. Lily, I said. She stopped. Looked back. I hope he gives you everything you're looking for. She left. The door closed behind her with a soft click. I stood there in the middle of my studio, surrounded by half-finished paintings and the ghost of us, and felt the floor drop out from under me. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just broke. And I let her go. Because that's what you do when someone tells you you're not enough. You let them walk away. You let them choose the life they want, even if it doesn't include you. You let them go. And you try to remember who you were before they made you believe you could be more. I disappeared the next morning. No dramatic exit. No final confrontation. I just erased myself. I woke up at dawn, my studio still dark, the city quiet outside my window. I didn't think. I just moved. I pulled 2 suitcases from under my bed and started packing. Clothes. Sketchbooks. A few canvases I couldn't leave behind. Everything else, the furniture, the half-finished paintings, the life I'd tried to build, I left behind. I broke my lease. Left the keys on the landlord's desk with a note, I'm done. Keep the deposit, I deleted every social media account. Instagram. Facebook. Twitter. Every digital footprint that connected me to the person I used to be. I didn't want to be found. Didn't want to be reached. I wanted to disappear completely. No forwarding address. No explanation. I became a ghost. I drove north for 3 hours until I reached a small coastal town I'd never heard of. The kind of place people go to disappear. To start over. To forget. I rented a cabin on the cliffs overlooking the ocean. It was old, drafty, barely insulated, but it had light. Huge windows that faced the water, light that poured in like liquid gold. And it had silence. The kind of silence that lets you hear yourself think. It was perfect. I spent my days painting the ocean. Wild. Relentless. Endless. Waves crashing against rocks, storms rolling in from the horizon, light breaking through clouds in sharp, violent beams. I painted what I felt, rage and grief and something deeper, something I didn't have words for. I stopped answering my phone. Stopped checking messages. Let the battery die and didn't charge it for days. I let the world forget me. People from my old life tried to find me. Friends I hadn't spoken to in months. Gallerists who'd shown my work before. Even my mother, her voicemails frantic, desperate. Please call me back. I'm worried. Just let me know you're okay. I ignored them all. Lily tried too. I saw her name flash across my screen dozens of times before the phone died. Texts I never opened. Voicemails I never listened to. I didn't block her. Blocking her would have meant I still cared. I just didn't care anymore. She'd made her choice. And I'd made mine. I poured everything into my work. The pain. The betrayal. The love I couldn't let go of. My paintings became darker, rawer, more honest than anything I'd ever created. No more soft edges. No more warm colors. Just truth. Blood reds and midnight blacks. Storms that swallowed the sky. Drowning figures reaching for light that never came. And people noticed. A small gallery in town offered me a show. The owner, an older woman with silver hair and kind eyes, saw something in my work. This is important, she said, running her fingers over the edge of a canvas. People need to see this. I almost said no. But something in her voice made me agree. The show sold out in 2 days. Every single piece. Gone. Bought by people I'd never met, people who saw their own pain reflected in mine. Then a gallery in the city called. A bigger one. Then a critic wrote about me in a national magazine, an artist painting grief like it's a religion. His work doesn't just capture emotion, it demands you feel it. My work started selling. Fast. For more money than I'd ever imagined. Collectors fought over pieces. Galleries begged for more. I didn't celebrate. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't tell anyone. I just kept painting. Because the truth was, I wasn't doing this for success. I wasn't doing it for recognition or money or fame. I was doing it to survive. To prove to myself that I was more than the man she left behind. That I could build something, anything, out of the wreckage she'd made of me. But every brushstroke was still her. Every canvas was still us. The way she laughed. The way she kissed me in the rain. The way she looked at me like I was enough, right before she decided I wasn't. And no matter how far I ran, no matter how much I tried to forget, she was there. In the colors. In the shapes. In the empty spaces I couldn't fill. I'd disappeared from the world. But I couldn't disappear from her. Some nights, I'd stand on the cliffs and scream into the wind. Let the ocean swallow my voice. Let the cold cut through me until I couldn't feel anything. But I always went back to the cabin. Always picked up the brush. Always painted her. Because she was the wound I couldn't stop touching. And maybe, somewhere deep down, I didn't want it to heal. 3 years passed. And I became someone I didn't recognize. My name was in magazines. Art journals. Newspapers. Features in *Art Forum *, The New Yorker *, Vanity Fair star. My work hung in galleries across the country, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami, places I used to dream about when I was selling paintings on the street for $20 each. Collectors fought over my pieces. Critics called me brilliant. Visionary. The voice of a generation. I did interviews. Photo shoots. Panel discussions at universities. People asked me about my process, my inspiration, my philosophy. I gave them answers that sounded profound but meant nothing. I smiled. I performed. I became the artist they wanted me to be. But I still lived simply. The cabin. The cliffs. The ocean. I didn't need the money, but I used it. Bought my parents a house, a real one, with a yard and a garden my mother had always wanted. Paid off their debts. Set up a scholarship fund for young artists who couldn't afford supplies, kids like me who were told their dreams weren't practical. I did everything I'd dreamed of when I was with Lily. Except I did it without her. I didn't date. Didn't let anyone close. People tried, beautiful people, intelligent people, interesting people who saw something in me they wanted to touch. Writers. Musicians. Other artists. They'd come to my shows, linger after, ask me to coffee, to dinner, to their studios. But I couldn't. Every time someone got too close, I felt the walls go up. Felt the scar tissue tighten around my chest. I was still carrying her around like a wound that wouldn't heal. My agent, a sharp woman named Claire who believed in my work when no one else did, kept pushing me to expand. You need to come back to the city, she'd say during our monthly calls. Do a major exhibition. Make a statement. I always said no. Until the invitation came. A solo exhibition. In the city. The same city I'd left 3 years ago. The same city where everything fell apart. A massive gallery in the arts district. A prestigious venue. The kind of show that could cement a career, that could take an artist from successful to legendary. This is your moment, Claire said. You've earned this. And you need to stop hiding. I almost said no. The thought of going back, of walking those streets again, of breathing that air, it made my chest tight. But something in me shifted. Maybe it was time. Maybe I needed to face it. Face the place where I'd been destroyed and show her, what I'd become. So I agreed. I flew back on a cold November afternoon. The city looked the same. Same skyline. Same noise. Same energy. But I was different. I wore a tailored suit now. Stayed in a hotel with room service and a view of the park. Walked into spaces that used to intimidate me and felt nothing. The gallery was stunning. White walls. High ceilings. Perfect lighting. My paintings hung like prayers, each one a piece of the last 3 years. My heartbreak. My healing. My survival. The opening was massive. Hundreds of people. Champagne. Cameras. Journalists. Collectors. Critics. Strangers shaking my hand, telling me how my work spoke to them, how it changed their perspective, how they'd never seen emotion captured so viscerally. I smiled. Thanked them. Played the part. And then I saw her. Standing in front of the largest painting in the room. The one I'd titled * Lavender Wall Star. Lily. She looked exactly the same. And completely different. Older, maybe. Tired. Her hair was shorter. Her clothes more expensive. But there was something in her posture, a heaviness, a weariness, that hadn't been there before. She turned. Our eyes met. And for a moment, the room disappeared. The noise. The people. Everything. She looked at me like I was a stranger. Like I was someone she used to know. Someone she'd lost. And standing there, in the middle of my triumph, surrounded by everything I'd built from the ashes of us, I realized something. I didn't feel anything. No anger. No satisfaction. No vindication. Just nothing. She'd been the center of my world for so long. The reason I ran. The reason I painted. The ghost I carried everywhere. And now, seeing her standing there, small and uncertain in a room full of my success, I realized she didn't have power over me anymore. I'd become someone she could never touch. She walked over slowly, like she was approaching something fragile. Something that might shatter if she moved too fast. "Hi," she said. Her voice was smaller than I remembered. Softer. Like the years had worn it down. "Hi." The noise of the gallery hummed around us, laughter, clinking glasses, the low murmur of conversations, but it felt like we were underwater. Like the world had gone quiet and all that was left was this moment, her and me, standing in front of the life I'd built without her. "Your work is?" She trailed off, glancing at the paintings. Her eyes moved from piece to piece, lingering on the darkness, the violence, the raw emotion. "It's incredible. I had no idea you. What are you doing here, Lily?" She flinched. "I saw the exhibition announcement. Online. I had to come. I had to see you." "Why?" She swallowed hard, her hands twisting together in front of her. "Because I made a mistake." I didn't say anything. Just watched her. Waiting. "Aaron and I." She paused, her voice catching. "We got engaged. A year after you left. We moved in together. Started planning a wedding. But it didn't work out. I kept my face neutral. Didn't give her anything. He wasn't who I thought he was," she continued, her eyes filling with tears. "He was controlling. Cold. He wanted me to quit my job, to stay home, to be this perfect version of a wife that I couldn't be. He didn't see me. Not really. He saw what he wanted me to be." A tear slipped down her cheek. She wiped it away quickly, like she was embarrassed. "He didn't see me," she repeated, her voice barely a whisper now. "Not the way you did. I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No vindication. Just emptiness." "I'm sorry," she said, her voice breaking. "I'm so sorry. I ruined everything. I threw away the best thing I ever had. And I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I have no right to even be here. But I needed you to know, I never stopped thinking about you. I never stopped regretting what I did." She looked at me with those same eyes that used to make me feel like I could conquer anything. But now they just looked desperate. Lost. "I see what you've become," she said, gesturing around the gallery. "Everything you've accomplished. And I'm so proud of you. Even if I don't deserve to be." I studied her for a long moment. This woman who'd destroyed me. This woman I'd loved more than anything. This woman who'd walked away because I wasn't enough. "I'm sorry you went through that," I said quietly. "I really am. But I can't give you what you're looking for." "I'm not asking for anything," she said quickly, desperately. I just wanted you to know. I wanted to tell you that you were right. About everything. You were enough. You were always enough. I was just too stupid to see it." "Lily." "I know it's too late," she interrupted, her voice cracking. "I know I don't get a second chance. I know I don't deserve one. But seeing you now, seeing everything you've become, I just needed to say I'm sorry. That I was wrong. That losing you was the biggest mistake of my life." I felt something crack inside me. Not heartbreak. Not anger. Just release. Like a door I'd been holding shut for 3 years finally opened. "I hope you find what you're looking for," I said. "Wait. I have to go. Enjoy the show." I turned and walked away. Through the crowd. Toward the exit. She called my name. Once. Softly. "Please." I didn't turn around. I kept walking until I was out of the gallery, out on the street, breathing in the cold night air. And for the first time in 3 years, I felt light. Free. I left the gallery early. Stepped out into the cold night air, the city lights blurring around me, and just breathed. My chest felt tight, but not in the way it used to. Not like drowning. More like surfacing. I stood on the sidewalk, hands in my pockets, trying to remember why I'd come back. trying to figure out what I was supposed to feel. "You're him, aren't you?" I turned. A woman stood a few feet away, elegant in a long black coat, her smile warm and genuine. She had kind eyes. The kind that made you feel safe. "The artist," she clarified. I nodded. "Yeah. That's me. I'm Mara," she said, extending her hand. "I bought 3 of your paintings last year. Storm breaking drowning light and the space between star. They're in my living room. I look at them every day." We shook hands. Her grip was firm. Confident. "Thank you," I said. "That means a lot." "I'm a writer," she continued. "I've been following your work for a while. I think what you do, capturing emotion the way you do, it's rare. Important. Most artists try to make beauty. You make truth." We talked. Right there on the sidewalk, while the gallery buzzed behind us and the city moved around us. She didn't ask about my pain. Didn't pry into the stories behind the paintings. She asked about my process. My inspiration. What I wanted to create next. "I'm working on something different," I heard myself say. "Less about loss. More about finding." She smiled. "I'd love to see it." For the first time in years, I felt light. Like I could breathe without the weight of the past pressing down on me. We exchanged numbers. She invited me to coffee the next morning. I said yes. Later that night, I went back inside. The gallery was quieter now, the crowd thinning, the energy winding down. I walked through the rooms, looking at my own work like I was seeing it for the first time. I stopped in front of lavender wall star. It was a portrait of the bedroom Lily and I had shared. The mural of peonies I'd never finished. The light streaming through the window. The ghost of us, frozen in paint. It was the largest piece in the show. The centerpiece. The painting everyone asked about. I'd thought I painted it for her. To remember her. To hold on to something I couldn't let go of. But standing there now, I realized the truth. I didn't paint it for her. I painted it for me. To remember. To release. To prove I survived. A reporter approached, notebook in hand. Young. Eager. "Excuse me, can I ask you something?" "Sure." She gestured to the painting. "This piece. It feels deeply personal. What does it mean to you?" I smiled. A real smile. The kind I hadn't felt in years. "It's a love letter," I said. "To someone I used to be. And now? Now I'm someone else." She scribbled in her notebook. "Do you think you'll ever paint like this again? This raw, this vulnerable?" I looked at the painting one last time. At the lavender walls and the unfinished peonies and the light that used to feel like home. "No," I said. "I don't think I will." "Why not?" "Because I'm not that person anymore. And that's okay." I walked out of the gallery. Into the night. Into the future. Without her. The city felt different now. Not hostile. Not haunting. Just a place. A place I used to live. A place I used to love someone. But not my place anymore. I had somewhere else to be. 6 months later, I sold the cabin. It had served its purpose. It was the place I went to disappear, to heal, to rebuild myself from nothing. But I didn't need it anymore. I didn't need to hide from the world. I was ready to be part of it again. I moved to a new city. Portland. Somewhere I'd never been. Somewhere with no ghosts. No memories. Just possibility. I rented a loft in the arts district with huge windows and exposed brick. Started fresh. I opened a studio on the ground floor where I taught young artists for free, kids who couldn't afford supplies, who didn't have mentors, who needed someone to believe in them the way I'd needed someone to believe in me. My work shifted. I painted less about heartbreak. More about hope. About light breaking through clouds. About flowers growing through cracks in concrete. About resilience. About second chances. The colors changed too. Softer. Warmer. Golds and pale blues and soft greens. My paintings still sold, still hung in galleries, still got written about. But now they meant something different. Not just survival. Growth. Mara and I grew closer. Slowly. Carefully. She didn't try to fix me. She didn't ask about my scars or demand to know every painful detail of my past. She just walked beside me. We traveled together, Seattle, San Francisco, Vancouver. We laughed. Created. She read me her stories, beautiful, haunting things about people finding themselves after loss, and I painted scenes from her words. I felt whole again. One morning, I woke up to a message. From Lily. I stared at her name on my phone screen for a long moment before opening it. Asterisk, I saw your new work online. The collection you're doing in Portland. It's beautiful. Completely different from before. You seem happy. I'm really glad. I mean that. I'm sorry for everything. For the pain I caused. For not seeing what I had until it was gone. I hope one day you can forgive me. But I understand if you can't. Thank you for loving me the way you did. I didn't deserve it. But it changed me. I'll carry that with me forever. I hope you find everything you're looking for. You deserve it. Asterisk. I read it twice. 3 times. Then I typed back. Asterisk, I forgive you. Not for you. For me. I hope you find your peace. Asterisk. I hit send. Then I blocked her number. Not out of anger. Not out of bitterness. Out of grace. Because I didn't need her anymore. Didn't need closure or apologies or explanations. I'd already moved on. Already built a life that was mine, truly, completely mine. I closed my laptop. Mara was waiting for me outside the studio, holding 2 cups of coffee, her smile bright against the autumn sky. The leaves were turning gold and crimson, the air crisp and clean, the world feeling new. Ready? She asked. I kissed her forehead. Took the coffee. Breathed in the moment, the smell of coffee and fallen leaves, the sound of the city waking up, the warmth of her hand in mine. Yeah, I said. Let's go. And I walked forward. Into a life I'd built with my own hands. A life no one could take from me. A life I'd earned through pain and perseverance and the refusal to stay broken. My students were waiting inside. 6 of them. Kids between 16 and 22. Kids who reminded me of who I used to be, hungry, uncertain, desperate to prove they had something to say. I taught them about light and shadow. About truth and emotion. About painting what you feel, not what you think you're supposed to feel. One of them, a girl named Sophie with paint always under her fingernails, asked me, "How do you know when a painting is finished?" I thought about it. About all the paintings I'd done over the years. About lavender walls and the ocean storms and the darkness I used to pour onto canvas. When it stops haunting you, I said. When you can look at it and feel peace instead of pain. She nodded. Understood in that way artists do. That night, Mara and I cooked dinner together in my loft. She told me about the novel she was working on, a story about second chances and learning to love again after loss. I told her about a new series I was planning, portraits of my students, capturing their hunger and hope. We ate on the floor, surrounded by canvases and books and the comfortable mess of 2 creative people building a life together. I'm happy, I said suddenly. She looked at me, surprised. Yeah? I didn't think I would be again. But I am. She reached over, took my hand. You deserve to be. And I believed her. Because I'd finally learned the truth, happiness isn't something someone gives you. It's something you build. Piece by piece. Day by day. From the wreckage of who you used to be into someone stronger, someone wiser, someone whole. A life that was finally, completely, beautifully mine.